Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I decided to check out an old video of mine where I showcased my favorite makeup of 2018. And I thought, how do those products measure up to my makeup standards these days? I've tried a lot of products over the past year. So I wanted to check them out. I wanted to see what kind of look I could create, see what I thought about those products, and maybe throw some of them out because they're probably expired. So if you're interested to see what I used to come up with this look and what my thoughts are on those products, keep on watching. So let's go ahead and get started with primer. One of the primers that I mentioned in that video was the Dr. Brandt Pores No More Pore Refiner Primer. This is something that I was super attached to when I was using it. I used it all the time, and I used it probably for a solid 6 months before I switched on to something else. Now, in saying all that, I haven't used this primer, I don't know, probably since the beginning of 2019. So I hope this one is still good. Oh, that's not promising. Oh, that's not good. I hope this isn't expired. Okay, we just had to get it going there because it was a little chunky at first. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply this all over the face. Oh, there's that slip. Oh, I don't know if I like that. I have gotten away from like the really heavy silicone primers because they end up making my face really oily after a couple hours. And this feels very heavily silicone infused. Let me check the back of this. Of course, it doesn't say. It smells funny. I don't know how I feel about that. It's very slippy. It's way more like slippy than I ever remember it. All right, I mean, we're just going to see how it works. You never know. Could fall back in love with it. Okay, so when we're moving on to foundations, a couple of the foundations that I mentioned were the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup, which this is a holy grail makeup product for me. It's something that I still use currently. I use it all the time. I love mixing this with more glowy foundations because it kind of counteracts that mattifying property of this to where it doesn't make my skin look so old and dried out. So what I'm going to do in this video is mix it with the Smashbox Studio Skin 15-Hour Hydrating Foundation. This was another one that I mentioned in that video, and we're going to see if they make a beautiful little baby together. Let's hope they do. I am going to be using a beauty blender to apply this with. I have kind of gotten away from using beauty blenders. I use my IT Cosmetics Loves the Foundation brush more than anything these days. But today we're going to use the beauty blender. We're going to kick it old school. I haven't used this Smashbox foundation in forever. I really remember enjoying this back when I mentioned it in my video though, so you know. Whenever I've had a product that's been sitting around for a really long time, especially if it's something that's in a pump, I like to take and pump like a few good pumps of it out first because you got to figure some of that's been sitting in that tube since the last time you used it. So in my eyes, I see it being chunky or separated, so I just try to like give it a couple good squirts, even though, you know, that's kind of wasteful, but I'd rather not put it on my face. I will say, like looking into my mirror, my face does look very blurred, which is nice. We all just want to be blurred out and, you know, fully covered. I used a beauty blender the other day and it took me 10 times as long to blend out my foundation. And I gotta be honest, wasn't living for it. I liked the way it looked. I liked the coverage and I liked the way it, you know, looked on the skin, but I didn't appreciate having to blend for 20 minutes. I forgot how much extra product I use when I'm using a beauty blender because it soaks up so much. I went ahead and added a little bit more on my cheek area just because that's where I have the most redness. And usually one layer of foundation doesn't do it. And that Smashbox foundation, I forgot, it's not as full coverage as what I'm used to. So it kind of sheared out that double wear foundation a little bit, which I'm not exactly thrilled about, but It doesn't look awful. A lot of skin issues right now. I don't know what's going on. My guess would be stress. The usual culprit. Okay, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to build that up because I do want it to be like representative of how I used to do my makeup. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the concealer portion of this. These crusty ass lips, we need to get some like moisturization going. So let me get some moisturizer on and then we'll jump into this concealer. Side note, I have this little sample of the Fresh Sugar Lip Caramel Hydrating Balm and it smells so delicious. It smells like caramel. And I keep licking my lips hoping that it's going to taste like caramel. It just doesn't, so. Slightly disappointing, but it's really good for hydrating. So the concealer I chose, I gotta be honest, I'm a little nervous about. In my 2018 favorites video, I really did at the time like this concealer, but I also hadn't found, my current favorites. So my basis of comparison was a lot smaller. This is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer. It's probably expired. Let's hope that it doesn't do any kind of weird funky stuff underneath the eyes. But I'm nervous about this because I do remember this had a tendency to make my under eyes look a little heavy if I went in really heavy. So the key to this is using a very small amount. Smells like paint. So I think that's a good sign. So I'm just going to we're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it light and airy. I don't know how I was so impressed by this. Nikki Tutorials got in my brain and made me think that I was going to love this. Not her fault. She loves it. That's cool. But I don't know about this. Right now, it's just looking a little bit makeup-y. It's looking a little bit heavy. The under eyes are not blowing me away. I gotta be honest, a big part of me just wants to slap some It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. Did I mention this in my 2018 favorites? I don't think I did. But I really want to use it. This is what I use to bring back to life the under eyes when they're really dried out. I know I keep mentioning that in my videos, so if you've watched previous videos, you know that. But they're just not looking fantastic right now. I don't like it. That Jouer concealer is just... We're going to give it the boot. I think I'm going to declutter it after this video because it's expired. I think this stuff only lasts... How could anybody read that little jar? Good God. 12 months? Okay. Well, I had this at the end of 2018, which means that I've had this well over 12 months. We're going to go ahead and pitch this. This is just not doing me any favors underneath my eyes. Bye-bye. Sayonara. I am going to add a little bit of this. Guys, I have to. Sorry. Just a little bit. We're going to revive it. The under eye revival. I can't be walking around with under eyes looking like that. Can't do it. People be thinking I'm crazy. That's a little bit better. Telling you, if you got old hag eyes like I do, you need to get with the program and get some bye-bye under eye. I should be a spokesperson for It Cosmetics because this stuff is incredible. I talk about it in almost all my videos. Sponsor this video, It Cosmetics. You're right. Okay, I feel like that looks so much better. Okay, when it comes to setting powder, back in the day, I had one true love. I had a couple of powders that I went between, but I had one true love. And that was the Too Faced Peach Perfect Setting Powder. This is the same jar that I bought. This is the same one that I showed in my 2018 favorites video. And I don't know if you can see how little is left in here. Yeah, you can see. It's not much. I've been kind of cherishing it because I do still really like this. But I haven't worn it in a really long time. So that's what we're using today to set my face. This stuff just smells like a heavenly peach dream when you're buffing it on your face. And it does a really fantastic job keeping your makeup in place. Let's just go ahead and start setting. I forgot that this powder actually tastes good too. So if you happen to get some of it in your mouth, it's like a little treat. Not that I would recommend eating it, but it's not necessarily a negative thing. I don't think. Guess maybe I shouldn't say that. Okay, so when we're jumping into complexion products, There's two things that I mentioned that I don't really use that much at all anymore, just because I have added to my collection substantially since that 2018 video. But I do remember liking these a whole lot when I filmed that. The first one is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Shapeshifter. This one has a powder side, and it also has a cream side. I do want to contour just a little bit with this contour shade here. And I was dipping into this highlighter shade, and it is actually really nice. I don't remember using the highlighter shade a lot, but it's fairly nice. I actually like that. I really don't contour a whole lot. I normally just throw on some bronzer, but for the sake of trying things from that video, I do want to use this shade here. Oh, whoa. That is a lot of powder, like a lot. Oh, shit. Talking about some cheekbones, bitch. I like to add a little bit of like contour or bronzer or something here just because I have a big ass forehead. And, you know, gotta tone her down a little bit. Tone down the five head. Tone her down. We'll have to see if my makeup skills have improved any since that video. Even though I didn't finish my makeup because I took too long. I'd like to say that's a trend I left in 2018, but alas, here we still are. Oh my God, what is going on? It just looks really muddy. I'm not sure how I feel about it right now. I want to see just how crazy this nose contour looks. I am not good at nose contour. I mean, if you haven't noticed. So the next palette that I chose from that video was the Park Avenue Princess from Tarte. Oh my God, my nose looks so bad. Why'd I do that? Why did I do that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to bronze up with the shade Princess Cut down here. I have used this several times since that video, but back then, I was really enjoying this palette for bronzing, so that's what we're going to use. Dipping into Princess Cut here. Oh boy. I do still really like this bronzer. I like this bronzer because it's not too cool toned, but it's also not orange. I gotta do something about the nose. I can't handle it. Cannot handle it. It's got a nice, subtle, like, red undertone to it that just makes it a really nice bronzer. And those are the bronzers I'm kind of into these days. So this is actually still a pretty fantastic pick, in my opinion. We got this Park Avenue Princess palette in a BoxyCharm box. I don't know. I think back in 2018. I'm getting super bronzy up in here. It's actually looking a little bit crazy. I'm just taking a powder brush and kind of blending all that in to make it look less patchy. So right now it is Patch City. So one of the highlighters that I mentioned was the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Soft and Gentle. This one is actually really beautiful. When I first got it, I had a habit of putting it all over my face, which is not how this is supposed to be used. I don't do that anymore. But it is really beautiful as a highlight. Whoa, doggy. How come I don't remember it being this blinding? Holy cow. Okay, Mac. Bringing Mac back. Alright, so the blush that I picked from that video was the Milani Romantic Rose. This is something that I haven't used in quite a while, and I don't really have any good reason for not using it. I just, other than, picking up way too many makeup products and forgetting about it. So that's what we're using today. I do really remember liking this. Let's go in with the IT Cosmetics Love Beautifully blush brush. I haven't used this in forever either, and this used to be like my holy grail blush brush. Oh, that's pretty. Very understated, Very subtle. I mean, I find a way to make it not subtle, but it's very pretty. Yeah, I like that. It's just the kind of blush that you have to build up, though. It's not very pigmented, but that's okay. That's, you know, don't always want a super pigmented blush. I really like that. That looks nice. Okay, sweet. For today's video, I'm going to be using the Gimme Brow from Benefit and the Brow Wiz from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, I still do use the Gimme Brow all the time, but I don't really mess around with the Brow Wiz that much anymore, just because I found better things. Like, I had to leave it in the past. But for the sake of today's video, we're going to give it a try again and see what I think. You know, maybe I'll fall back in love with this old gem. We'll see. So first I'm going to go ahead and comb some of this Gimme Brow through my brows. The shade that I have is 4.5. I mean, you can just see what that's done so far. It really does help to add some volume to your eyebrows. Okay, so I wasn't able to just use the Gimme Brow and the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz because this is just not my cup of tea anymore. It's way too hard to get any kind of precision with it because the tip of it is very rounded, so you can't get like little hair strokes. Sorry, my cat is sitting on my lap. Did you want to do a tutorial? Did you want to do your makeup, sir? Huh? No judgment. No judgment. Don't you bite, hey, don't you bite me. That's Brow Wiz. Okay, anyway, so what I ended up doing, just because I didn't want my brows to look completely whack, I took my, the Brow Gal brow pencil that I am so in love with, I sharpened it, and then I used that to get hair strokes at the front of my brow, and then I also took the Glossier, what is this called? The Brow Flick, to put even more hair strokes at the front, and then just to darken them up a little bit, so I would have loved to have just stuck with the Brow Wiz and the Gimme Brow, but they weren't looking good at all. It was looking a hot mess. Not that these look terrific, but they look a lot better than the other way did. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into the eyeshadow, which is my favorite portion still. Okay, so back in 2018, one of the products that I used to start my eyeshadow application was the P. Louise base. The way I do my eyeshadow now is I take concealer and I set my lids with that, and then I put a little bit of powder over top, and that's it. I don't use any specific products just for my eyeshadow base. The reason why I really, really loved the P. Louise base back at the end of 2018 is because this product is really great for getting a good blend, and it's really good for making those bright, vibrant colors pop. However, this is not a product that I can wear like when I'm going to work or when I want my makeup to last all day, because this is a cream product and it will start to move around. If you have oily eyelids, this is not a product that's going to stay all day for you. So this is good for me to film videos with. It's good for me to take pictures of, you know, eye looks. It's good just to play with. But in theory, like wearing it all day, not the best product, which is why I don't use it a whole lot. So I'm actually kind of excited to dip into this again, just because it has been a very long time since I've used it. Now, I have mine in the shade Rumor 0.5, and you just need a very small bit of this, and it goes a very long way. So I'm going to go ahead and cover my lids with this P. Louise. I'm wondering if I'm even going to be able to get a decent eye look with it, because there is kind of a learning curve, just because I'm working with a tacky base as opposed to working with concealer and powder, which is how I usually do things now. Okay, so I went ahead and laid down that P. Louise base on my eyes. Now I'm going to jump into the eyeshadow palettes. So I'm a little nervous just because I'm afraid of how this is going to blend over top of this base, but I must have mentioned, no joke, like 30 different palettes in that video, and I was trying to come up with, I don't know, a look that I haven't done in a while, or one that would go along with maybe Valentine's Day or something, since Valentine's Day is right around the corner. So I had mentioned the Naked Cherry palette from Urban Decay. I also mentioned the Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions palette. And I mentioned a couple others. So I'm going to utilize, you know, several different palettes to come up with a, you know, a pink look, something that I can, you know, also maybe call like a Valentine's Day look, since we are approaching that holiday. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do now. And we'll see if I still love these palettes, which I don't really use the Naked Cherry palette anymore. It kind of just sits on my shelf. It is a beautiful palette though, and I did really like it. That's why it was in my favorites video. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm taking the Naked Cherry palette and I'm dipping into the color Feels. It's this really pretty pink shade here. And I'm going to use that to kind of build up this crease area here. What I've learned with the P. Louise base is it's best to kind of build up your crease and then blend it out with something else, like as you're building more towards your brow. Just because of the way this consistency is, I feel like it works best that way. I hope I'm not regretting this by the time I get done. I'm going to go ahead and blend that out with the shade Caution. This shade right here will work well as like a transition shade. And I'm going to use a fluffier brush to do that. I actually forgot how much I really like this palette, and it's been quite a while since I've used it. I really do like the way these blend over top this P. Louise base. I actually forgot how much I really do like this base. They just blend so easily, and it just looks like the colors just blend so well into each other over top of this base. It looks like seamless. So far all I've done is blended the shades Caution and Feels, just to kind of give that overall rounded shade. Now I'm going to dip into a darker pink shade to kind of build up that crease and start packing on the outer and inner portions. Then I'm going to lay down a really pretty shimmer shade in the middle, and that's going to wrap up this eye look. I'm not going to make it too elaborate, but I do want it to be pretty and Valentine's Day-ish. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it on camera because it's boring. Y'all don't want to see that, do you? I grabbed the Ciate London Eye Luster Cream Eyeshadow. We got this in a BoxyCharm, I don't even know, a long time ago. And I really haven't used it but maybe one other time. So I kind of wanted to throw it on just to give it a little bit more pizzazz because it just was not, the look was not doing it for me, okay? So I did cheat a little bit. This was not mentioned in my favorites of 2018, but I just had to do something. Especially because I plan on filming more videos and I didn't want to look like total garbage doing that. So then I ran a little bit of those colors underneath my eyes, and now we're at the point where I need to put on some mascara. So in my 2018 video, one of the mascaras that I mentioned was the Milk Makeup Kush Mascara. This was my ride or die homie for a good 6 months, 7 months, maybe even longer than that. And then for whatever reason, I just stopped using it and started using cheaper alternatives. So I have had this quite a while. I kind of think it's more than likely expired. But it doesn't seem totally dried out. So we're going to go ahead and use it today. The last time I used it, I don't remember being totally thrilled with it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to give it another shot. We're going to see if it deserves to be in that best of video. It was just a little bit dried out. So it's not really applying the way I remember. Or maybe that's just because I've found better. Now, back when I filmed this video, my favorites of 2018, I didn't have any lashes in that video because at that time, I couldn't put a pair of lashes on to save my frickin' life. And applying lashes is still rather difficult for me, but it's not impossible. So I guess for this video, I probably shouldn't. I really hope I don't get an eye infection. This mascara is definitely old. Oh my god, this needs to go straight in the garbage when I get done. And it's flaking a little bit too. I wish this wasn't so old, that way I could get an accurate, idea of what I still think about it. This has got to go. This is nasty. I mean, in all fairness, this is probably a good year, probably a year old. It's not the worst mascara, but it's going in the garbage. Okay, now we gotta move on to the lipstick. So, shoot, I forgot to take note of what lipstick I was digging on. Let me think real good. Alright, so what I went ahead and used for my lips were two products that I did mention during the 2018 favorites video. The first one is the Urban Decay Vice Lipstick in Back Talk. This was one that was really popular when it first came out just because the color is a mauve, like nude, really beautiful. And I really did like this when it came out, and I used it quite a bit, but I'll be honest, today's the first time that I've used it in quite a long time. But what I did is I used this, and then I mixed in a little bit of the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea lipstick in the shade Salt Life. This one is another one that was an absolute favorite. I've gone through several of these little minis of it. You can see that that's all I have left, which is like nothing. But I mixed those two to come up with this really pretty like mauve shade. And I lined my lips with the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in Oh Snap. This wasn't something that was mentioned in my 2018 video, but I needed a lip liner. And I'm kind of digging the way it matches. I like how it looks together with the eye look. And I think we're about done. The only other thing that I had left was a setting spray. The setting spray that I mentioned in my 2018 favorites video was the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. It's still a fantastic spray in my opinion. It does the trick. It sets your makeup in place. It doesn't spew product at you to where you've got droplets of stuff everywhere. It just does a really good job locking things into place. So I think I am going to go ahead and spray my face down, and then I think we're going to be done. I feel like this was a rather successful try on of all these products. I mean, the ABH brow pencil, you know, I'm done with that. We're breaking up. The Milk Makeup Kush Mascara, that's got to go because it's expired. And I'm just not totally thrilled with the way it made my lashes look. I don't know. I'm just really underwhelmed. So it's not the way I remember it. The other products that I used, I'm not really mad at. The Dr. Brandt Pores No More primer, I'm going to start using that again. I feel like it did a good job. I don't feel like my skin is overly oily. I've had this makeup on now for like 6 or 7 hours because it's taken me all day to film. I've been stopping and starting. And I mean, my makeup is still wearing very, very nicely for how long it's been on. Usually by now, things are a slippy, slidey mess. So let's go ahead and use the setting mist, and I think I'll be about done. Alright, so what did you guys think about the products that I mentioned in this video? Did I mention anything that is still one of your favorites? Is it something you're hanging on to? Some of the products I mentioned are like staple products, like the Estee Lauder foundation. I love that. I still use it. I actually want to start using that Smashbox foundation again because, again, my skin is very oily, and it did not pull oily on me at all, and I mixed a good deal in with that Estee Lauder. It mixed very well together, so I'm going to start using that again. I think this was a lot of fun. I think it was interesting to see what I used to like and what I think about those products now. Still some really good makeup products. Let me know down below what you guys were using in 2018 and what you're still using now. That's what lets us know what makeup products are really fantastic. They're those iconic products that you just can't live without, and they're timeless. So let me know down below what those are. That way maybe I can check them out. Thank you guys so much for watching today. If you're not already subscribed, I really hope you consider doing that before you leave. If you do that, don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way YouTube will let you know when I upload a video. And like this video. Like it if you like it. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.